Oh my god! I did not want it that show. I said I'm perfect. What the heck is that? Oh, I paused it. That noise don't care. Alright, no big no. Okay, what is wrong? What gonna do? What gonna... Oh! What is that thing? It's not even starting to get that creepy. That gross fire. It's gonna jump on. Don't do it. Don't do it. Dude, don't do it. You better not. Gonna jump on. Gonna jump. Go! Yep, that's what's gonna happen. What is it? Long shake. I don't get it. Got a long shake. Did that shake? Yeah, please got a long shake. How is that? Annoying Sherry. What is it? That's annoying Sherry. I don't get it. Well, there's something else. That one annoying that share. That one might be creepy. I don't want to not creepy at all. I did not want that. Hardly jump scare. But not even a jump scare, really. So let's do this one. This one. Oh, yeah.
The following video comes from James Fodder, who recently bought a doll from a secondhand store.
Don't buy
Apparently,
no doll.
the doll was worth a lot more than what the store was selling it for. For this reason, James had bought the doll. However, ever since bringing it home, strange things have been happening. From hearing strange
Well,
things
strange things happen. Get rid of the doll.
James suspects that the doll might be responsible for the unusual activity in his house.
No, get rid of it.
And so,
That's a
he
creepy.
decided to record the doll in front of the camera inside an empty room. He hopes to capture footage of something that would leave his haunted. The camera was naked on its side in the first few days of the video. One night, something very strange happens. Now, the camera that he uses is programmed to move wherever it thinks are movement. So, if something moves, it will point to that object. You can see it doing that in this footage. But strangely, the camera pans around the room as though it's picking up movement from somewhere. This is what was captured. camera is detecting an unseen presence, or is it just not functioning properly? Although it's likely that it's a problem with the camera, something really creepy happens 2 nights later inside the room, which has made him think that the camera was actually picking up something. James is away from home when the following happens. He writes, "Just wow, I've been leaving the closets open in case anyone thinks I'm hiding inside. I don't even know what to say. This is what was captured."
I don't even creepy. That's not creepy. That is not creepy. Wait, why are they
Out of James's bathroom comes out what appears to be a dark, shapeless figure.
Oh,
It seems to dart across the floor before disappearing from sight.
oh.
James believes
What was
this
that?
may have been the apparition that was being
What?
picked up earlier by the camera. He also thinks that this mysterious figure might be attached to the doll. Ever since then, he's been filming more at night. Little does he know that he would eventually capture something more terrifying than this. James is sleeping in his room upstairs when the following happens.
Foot moving a hand. That doll moved. Get rid of it. Why didn't you buy the first one? So creepy. I don't remove. It's only.
All of a sudden, the doll moves on its own. It appears to move for just a few seconds before abruptly stopping. Feeling very unsettled, James posts the footage online to see if anyone could explain this video. It's not sure if he'll continue to hold on to this doll, given what occurred, but it might be best if he keeps it locked up inside this room, as an occurrence like this
Don't lock
definitely warrants
it
it.
up.
As always, what are your thoughts on this? Had something paranormal occurred, or had something else happened? The following video shows a priest who's about to give a sermon when something really creepy happens. Although not much info is given on the video, the title of the clip says it all, which reads, "A priest is about to give a speech, but immediately hears screams." The clip is pretty unsettling to say the least. This
The Ultimate Fan Experience is back, happening September 22nd through the 24th at the South Palace Convention Center.
This is what was captured.
El Señor esté con ustedes y con tu espíritu. Lectura del Santo Evangelio según San Juan. Gloria al Señor.
Wait. I'm so baby. I don't even
My life will never be the same because of one night. I was driving home from a friend's house, located on the outskirts of the city. As far as my eyes went, I could only see vast cornfields on both sides of the road. My house was still 40 minutes away, and I could hear the angry rumble of my stomach. But I couldn't see any sign of a house or people, until I took a left turn for a shortcut. The scenery was different after this turn. Now the cornfields were substituted by deep woods, Hooting owls and howling coyotes reminded me that I'm too far from home in the middle of the night. I didn't want to stop no matter how hungry I felt, so I kept on driving for a few kilometers straight. But then I saw this McDonald's drive-thru, and I knew I had to stop. I drove straight into the queue passages, which had no other cars, and stopped right next to the window. A skinny teenage boy was dozing off, sitting on the counter. I honked my horn twice, and he woke up with an awkward face. I'm sorry, sir. I was just... Relax, man. No problem. I get it. It's okay to be tired. He smiled and asked for my order. I'll have a Big Mac with 1 small fries and an iced tea. Okay, give me some time to get back with your food. Saying this, he went inside the restaurant to prepare the meal. I figured out this outlet is short-staffed, so the boy is in charge of everything tonight. I sat quietly waiting for my meal, but then the urge to pee hit me right away. I came out of the car and went to use the public toilet located in the corner of the drive-thru. I was about to close the door when I noticed a guy dressed as Ronald McDonald sitting on a bench at some distance. He had a sad face and was staring at the ground like he was about to cry. Suddenly, he looked up and our eyes met. A weird smile appeared on his face. His teeth were broken in places, making his smile way more horrible. His eyes were big, yet drowsy. He had a hypnotic stare that made me very uncomfortable. His face was so bony that I could see his cheekbones gushing out of his skin. I couldn't move, and he just watched me for a few seconds. And then he stood up, retaining that same creepy smile, and started to jog, standing in the same place. What a creep. Saying this, I closed the toilet door on his face. I was doing my business when I heard a muffled sobbing sound. The sound wasn't very loud, but it was surely spooky enough. Is that guy crying? What the hell is wrong with that dude? Suddenly, the sound stopped, and silence prevailed. I turned towards the door, pondering on what I would see when I opened it, and a loud bang took place, almost giving me a heart attack, followed by a familiar voice. Sir, are you in there? I opened the door and saw it was that skinny teenager standing outside with a big packet in his hand. Your food is ready. I called out to you, but... Yeah, I had to take a leak. He handed me the food, and we both walked to my car. I was taking out the cash from my wallet to pay him when I noticed the bench where that Ronald guy was sitting a few minutes back. It was empty, and the guy was nowhere to be found. Seeing me checking out the bench, the boy asked, Is anything wrong, sir? Nothing like that. It's just, your Ronald McDonald guy is pretty creepy. He would scare the kids away. What Ronald McDonald guy? The man who was sitting here a few moments back, wearing your mascot costume? I have no idea what you're talking about, sir. We don't have anyone like that here. I'm all this place has got. A cold shiver ran down my spine as he said that. I paid him quickly and, without much ado, got back on the road. The confused boy watched me drive away in a hurry. I rolled the windows down to get some fresh air. Some crazy man creeped me out and looked at me, and I was being all childish about it. I felt humiliated by my cowardly behavior. The boy must be laughing on his own now, seeing a guy double his age get scared of some stupid mascot. I went to turn on some music to take my mind off of everything. But before I could press the button on my music player, a squeaky laugh came from the back seat. I could feel my heartbeat getting faster. Drops of sweat appeared on my forehead as I slowly looked at the rearview mirror. A dark, shadowy figure was sitting in my back seat. It was a man with a curly red wig on his head. He slowly surfaced in the darkness, and the passing streetlights illuminated his face. That same wide but drowsy eyes, a red, painted, big smile, was watching me. I was so freaked out that I forgot to scream. A cold, sharp, metallic thing touched my neck as the creepy Ronald leaned close to me. You shouldn't have closed the door on me, mate. What do you want? I want to show you how sharp this knife is. Hand me your iced tea. Come on, do it, do it! Okay, okay. I handed him my cup of iced tea. The situation was tense. I couldn't speed up, fearing that he would definitely slit my throat, and none of my loved ones would ever discover my body. So I decided to handle the entire situation very carefully. I didn't want to do anything reckless to make this psycho snap. He placed the cup right on my shoulder, and then moved the knife swiftly. The knife was so sharp that it cut the bottom of the cup like butter, and the cold tea spilled all over my clothes. Oh my God! He laughed his heart out, while I almost shat my pants. I said in a fumbled voice, "Look, mister, I am..." "Call me Ronald." Yes, Ronald. I'm sorry for disrespecting you earlier. Please forgive me. That's a good start. So just tell me where to drop you, and I will. No issues. Or are you trying to get rid of me? No. Drive quietly. I'll tell you where to stop. Okay, whatever you say. Good boy. I kept driving, and Ronald watched me while smiling like a lunatic the entire time. We came near a right turn, and Ronald screamed, "That's it! Stop right there, and then we will both get out of the car. Midnight was so much fun!" I slowed the car down near the turn. I knew deep in my heart that if I got down there with this psycho, I'm probably never going back home. I have to do something to save myself. I kept trying to think of a way to fool him and get away with my life when he yelled again. "Are you going to stop, or should I make you?" No, I'll stop. I slowed the car down but didn't turn off the engine. He opened the back door, and as soon as he stepped outside, I put the car in gear to speed away. But instead of the first gear, I put the car in reverse out of panic. As I pressed the accelerator hard, the car moved backwards at a sudden speed and bumped into the man standing there, not expecting this sudden turn of events. He fell to the ground, and I couldn't stop myself from hitting him once more. The left tire ran over his leg, breaking all the bones in his limb. I could hear the cracking and his dying scream all together. "Eat shit, you freak!" I screamed at him and drove away without wasting a single more second. The guy was so evil that even after losing his entire leg, he still got up and in a very freaky way tried to chase my car, supporting his body on his one good leg. His smile grew even bigger as he chased me like a zombie. Before my car went away from his sight, I heard his loud voice echoing in the night, screaming, "I'm Ronald McDonald! No one gets away from me!" I can't explain how I got home that night, but after that day, I stopped going to McDonald's forever.
Yep. You did that.
Welcome. You're accepted here.
Working in customer service is not easy. Since I've been working at McDonald's, I've encountered all kinds of customers. Many of them take a long time to order and delay the line. Others get angry for the craziest reasons. From the first day, we are taught to deal with all kinds of people, but nothing could prepare me for what I experienced that day. It was a Tuesday afternoon, and my shift had just started. I had to work in the drive-thru, which is usually much quieter, so the day had not started badly. Customers were coming in very slowly, and I was a bit bored, until I heard a request that caught my attention. "Good afternoon, sir. May I take your order?" "Yes, I want 3 hamburgers. Very well, sir. What kind of hamburgers?" "I don't care. I just want a hamburger." This person seemed a little angry about my question. He seemed desperate for those hamburgers. "Okay, sir. How about 3 Big Macs?" Yes, that's perfect." "Do you want them in a combo?" "No, I told you I just want the burgers. I need them." Some of my coworkers were laughing hard at this guy, but I couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable. As his car moved forward, I did my best not to grimace. The man was short and slightly overweight, but his appearance was disgusting. His whole face was covered in sauce. His hair was so long and greasy that he chewed his bangs with his teeth. I could see how his clothes were shredded and parts of his body were showing through. The disgusting man opened a window and a horrendous smell almost made me vomit. I thought he might be offended by this, but he didn't pay me the slightest attention and spoke to me. "Take the money, and do you have my food?" With some distaste, I took his money. "Sir, this is much more than—" "I want my fucking food!" I'm sorry, sir. Take it." Handing him the burgers, he almost didn't take the paper off them as he began to devour them savagely on the spot. A part of me wanted to turn away, but I couldn't help but watch, mesmerized, as he smashed the burgers into his mouth and proceeded to chomp down on them at an impressive speed. "Sir, can you eat somewhere else, please? Another car may come." He ignored me and just kept eating. "Sir, I'm talking to you. Would you please move your car forward and leave?" When I found no answer, I quickly went to my manager, who told me that since there was no security that day, I should go with 2 more colleagues to knock on his window. I was a little hesitant, but my boss was somewhat authoritarian, so I knew I had no choice. I told 2 of my colleagues, and we went out to the front door. "So, we're gonna have the privilege of meeting the Hamburger Maniac." "What do you mean? Have you met him before?" "Everyone on the night shift knows him. The lunatic just comes in, eats his burgers in the car, and leaves. Looks like he got hungry a little early today." "Well, is he dangerous?" "He gave me a really bad vibe." "Nah, he's harmless." When I got to his car, I didn't even get to knock on his window. The man was gone. When I said he was leaving after lunch, he usually takes the car with him. Seems like today he was in a hurry. We started to check his windows, but there was no sign of him. Confused, we went back to our manager, who said he would handle things from now on. I figured he would send a tow truck if the owner didn't show up. But to tell you the truth, I wasn't interested. I was just glad not to deal with that lunatic anymore. I was on my way back to my post, but on the way, I heard something that caught my attention. Some very strange noises were coming from the storage room. I recognized that noise as that of an animal eating, so I went through the door with some curiosity. What I saw would leave me shocked. The man in the car was behind the door. He was sprawled on the floor with his shirt off, eating medallions of raw hamburgers. When I saw him, I felt like I was gonna throw up. The maniac grabbed 4 hamburgers at a time and stuffed them all together in his mouth. The raw minced meat joined in his hand, forming a mass of food that he swallowed desperately, no matter how much of it landed on his hairy body. I couldn't stand the urge any longer and threw up on the floor, falling to my knees. When I was finally able to recover, I raised my head again, and the lunatic was in front of me, staring at me and concentrating on my presence for the first time. "You're coming to eat too?" I couldn't answer him, as I was still shaken after the vomiting. I tried to get up, but it was useless. The man pushed me to the floor and sat on my belly. "What the fuck, man? Get off of me!" Without answering me, he started smiling with a devilish look on his face. And just as he did, he revealed that he had more medallions of raw hamburger in his hand. "What are you doing with that? Get away from me!" "Easy, there's enough for both of us." Having said that, he stuck his hand full of raw meat in my mouth. I was choking. I moved my hands desperately, trying to hit him, to get the food out of my mouth, anything that could free me from that situation. The man lunged at me and proceeded to bite my face like I was one of those hamburgers. I frantically punched him, but he didn't react. He just kept pressing me with his teeth. I felt like I was going to die. That lunatic was going to eat me alive, and I would never even know why. I heard a scream behind me, and as fast as it started, the man stopped biting me and fell to my side, wounded. I looked up, and one of my coworkers was behind me, breathing heavily with a broken broomstick in his hand. The maniac recovered from being hit by the broomstick and lunged at me again, but my partner had already pulled me out of the storage room and closed the door. "Somebody help us! Luke is hurt!" Man, Is that the hamburger maniac? Are you alright? Without answering him, I spit all the raw meat out of my mouth and breathed easier again. Within seconds, all our coworkers were there, helping me and looking for a way to cover the wound on my face while the ambulance was coming. I managed to stand up on my own, and while I was covering my face, I noticed that many of my colleagues were looking at the window of the storage room. Oh, what's going on? What are you doing? Dude, you have to see this. I looked out the window, and the man was at the back of the storage room eating a raw hamburger. The difference was that now he had a lot of hamburgers wrapped around his body, and as he was eating them, he was looking at the window suspiciously, as if the employees were trying to steal them. Shortly thereafter, the police took the man, who was behaving more like a wild animal than a human. Shortly after leaving the hospital, I went back to work, but I wasn't there for long. Every time I saw a hamburger medallion, I wanted to vomit. In the short time I was there, I heard all kinds of rumors. The calmer ones said he was a lonely man who was extremely stoned, but other rumors said he was a cannibal who escaped from a Satanist ritual with a hunger for human flesh. I was never interested in hearing any explanation of who this man was. It was enough that every time I saw myself in the mirror, I would remember the marks he left on me for life. Most of the time, it's the big, deliberate decisions that change your life. But sometimes, the smallest situations, those that you considered insignificant, end up having an impact you could have never imagined. When I was